Greetings and hello, I am Radiger, the only author on the SCP Wiki. I wrote all of them, except for the bad ones. That's me. Welcome to my Content Farm, a show where an SCP author makes money off people who make money off SCP authors. It's been a while, because I moved. It was a very long and horrible process, but I am now officially moved. So it is time to make more videos for you, my- I'm getting over a cold. So it is time to make more videos for you, my beloved slavering mass of viewers. I would like to thank my patrons. Their names are on the screen. Hey, why are you all still here? Not that I'm grateful, but your faith in my ability to continue turning out videos is humbling. My patrons get early access to my videos, so sign up if you'd like to see my videos a little before everyone else. Today's special comment comes from Jack Ain't My Real Name, who says, okay. Picture, viewer, if you will, me and Jack. We are standing in a room. We are standing across from each other. I look at Jack. Jack looks at me. I look back at Jack. Jack looks back at me. Jack says, okay. I nod. Jack nods. Peace and love on planet Earth. Man, I don't know. This one just really got me when I read it. Sometimes we all just have to look within ourselves and say, okay. Don't forget to subscribe. Also hit the bell because I post at random times on random days with basically no warning at all. And you don't want to miss it. Or maybe you do want to miss it. Maybe you want to miss the video and all your friends will watch and they'll all say, wow, did you see the new super cool and funny and gay Radiger video? There was an SCP in it. It was so good and cool, and you'll be left out and they won't invite you to their birthday parties anymore. Do you want that? Hit the bell! Let's have a gander at today's article. Today we're looking at SCP-6426 by Crowcat, titled Vampire Boat. It's about a boat that is also a vampire. It's a wacky, funny action comedy that totally delivers on its title. It's about, what if there was a boat that was also a vampire and could do all the classic vampire things, but distinctly boat-flavored. It's a riot of an article, revealing level after level of boat Dracula silliness as we follow the story of its discovery and subsequent epic and hilarious battle on the shores of Three Portlands. It's the exact kind of article that I love, because it's deeply unserious and cartoony. And Crowcat expertly employs not just general humor, but also jokes that rely on deeper knowledge of the SCP Wiki conventions and expectations, making it a blast for frequent readers. My favorite part is the closing interview log. The dialogue is fantastically funny. It's a quick read, so now is a good time to pause the video and read the original yourself. Are you done reading? Damn, that was fast. Good job. Have a plantain chip. Where SCP author Crowcat dares to answer one of society's oldest questions, what if a vampire was a boat, the Rubber dares to answer a question that nobody asked. What if we took a comedy story and retold it, but with none of the jokes?
As he struggled, I looked out into the distance and saw what looked like a tugboat. Confused, I asked my dad if he saw it too. He grunted that he had and told me to shout to them to help us out. I called out to the boat, but after getting close enough to see it, I regretted yelling immediately.
So this cold open part was added by the Rubber. This is not in the original article. I think it's to make it, like, scarier, to make it align more with, like, the horror genre than a comedy, which is a choice, as you will see.
My dad told me to open his tackle box and remove the top layer. I did and found a gun.
And then he had a gun.
6426 is a sapient tugboat with vampiric characteristics.
Oh. There went the punchline. You know, I think in their own way, the Rubber is kind of an avant-garde YouTube channel by the way that they're really pushing the bounds of comedy, because most comedians would tell a joke with a setup and then a punchline, but the Rubber just tells you the punchline immediately.
In order to repair itself, 6426 drains the blood from its prey. Not only blood, but any organ-filled or entity that has blood will also be absorbed into its biomass.
I'm actually kind of fascinated by the incongruous way that these channels approach horror, because it's very clear that, you know, the scarier parts of SCP are like what their audience comes here for, but it seems like the Rubber is afraid of actually portraying anything as being like horror, like legitimately scary. So it's all done in this like silly cartoon style with these goofy sound effects and silly facial expressions so that they're talking about things that like would be scary, but in a way that wouldn't actually scare anyone. I think this probably has to do with the fact that, number one, they're not very good at making actual art, and number two, their audience is very young. They're doing it so that it suggests horror just enough to keep, like, a 12-year-old interested, and the end result is just nothing. Like, it's just tonally gray. Because they can't commit to it just being funny, because then no one will watch. But they can't commit to it being truly horror, as some of these articles are, or else their child audience wouldn't want to watch it anymore.
The discovery of 6426 was a very violent affair.
Okay, wait. What about the hardtack thing? No, what about the hardtack thing? That was a really important part of the containment procedures. That was like the setup to the climax of the story. Whatever.
Another entity, a parahuman within 3 Portlands known only as the Gruel, fought it off with twin swords, but was unable to kill it.
I think that perhaps I am just going to illustrate for you all of the things that were supposed to be jokes, that the rubber sort of unraveled like an old sweater. So the joke about the Gruel is that the Gruel is a restaurant owner who just happens to have 2 giant swords under the counter and some sort of unspecified anomalous ability, and their name is in all caps for the whole article, and there's no explanation, which is pretty funny. It gives us a window into what the world of 3 Portlands is like.
The Gruel then used its impressive strength to beat 6426 down, launch it into the air, and punched it so hard it opened a waypoint to our reality.
So that was also supposed to be a joke. Ways are portals that only open when specific conditions are met, and the joke is that this particular way's condition was that it could only be opened if it was hit by a boat at high speeds. And it was like in the sky, which is funny. Are you exhausted with me explaining the jokes yet? Me too, kill me. They also left out that the only reason that it could be knocked out at all was because a bunch of hardtack spilled into the ocean and the boat started obsessively counting it, which is another vampire lore joke.
While many civilians were killed in the apprehension of 6426, a valuable piece of information was learned. 6426 and its instances are weak to electrum.
Oh my god. Its weakness isn't electrum bullets. It's the fact that it's a fucking vampire and it abides by vampire rules. It's a joke. That's the joke.
Do I really got to speak with the fleshy boat monster? Yep, you're the best man we've got now. What happened to the other researchers? I'm just a junior. Most qualified personnel was killed when it went on rampage. As for your head researcher, well, you just heard him coming through its siren.
This was also supposed to be a joke. It was a joke where the clinical tone of the interview log kept getting interrupted by the scientists fighting over who was going to talk to the boat, ending with the punchline that they make the intern do it. It's a parody of the interview format because you're expecting all the Foundation doctors to be professional and they're being really silly and arguing instead. Fuck! I hate it here!
Apparently, it had mistaken them for the Church of the Broken God.
Okay, this is not a criticism as much as just something that I want to point out, but when they talk about the Church of the Broken God, they dress up their little avatar as a Catholic. I really like this imagery and the implication that the Church of the Broken God also included the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. That's just a little joke for the Pope. Rest in peace, the Pope.
Is it and the church had been hunting his kind for a long time.
Is it isn't with the church. The joke is that the boat has a one-sided rivalry with a guy who hasn't been on a boat since he was 3 years old. Kill me.
But to make the world a better place, they must invite the beast in through a waypoint in 3 Portlands.
Okay, no. God. The porthole thing is a metaphor. There's no beast. It's just talking about embracing your violent nature. Because it's a vampire, and that's like vampire shit to say because they eat people. It's release the beast, if you will. There's no literal beast in this article. It's a figure of speech. I hate it here. Why do you guys make me do this? Basic jokes usually consist of 2 parts, a setup and a punchline. Sometimes jokes can even have 3 parts, a setup, a reminder, and a punchline. The Rubber blazes new trails in the field of fiction writing by having neither a setup nor a punchline. I will now tell you a series of jokes, translated into the Rubber's writing style. What do you call advice from a cow? Beef tips. Beef tips are part of a cow. Why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. A scarecrow was in a field. How does the ocean say hello? It waves! The ocean has waves in it. I am, as usual, surprised at how the Rubber can manage to take such a good story and suck any artistry out of it completely. They're like some kind of beast of darkness that has to drink the life of others and lure in wayward onlookers so that it can keep propagating itself. Get it? Crowcat structured their story by revealing little pieces of information at a time. You don't start out knowing that the boat's a vampire. Even though the title of the story is Vampire Boat, the only place that the title appears is in the main list. It's not actually on the page of the story, so you start the story not knowing that the boat is a vampire. So as you're reading, more and more little details get revealed until you realize that this tugboat operates on the same rules as Dracula. Those little reveals, those little punchlines, add up over the course of the entire article all the way until the end. The structure of the comedy is just seeing how much traditional vampire lore we can fit inside this boat. The problem this content farm company is encountering is that not every SCP is a horror story, but their undiscerning audience isn't watching their videos for anything other than horror. They're only there for watered down, simplified, unchallenging, vague gestures at horror concepts. So that's what the Rubber has to make everything into. Let's turn our attention once again to the rubric. The rubric is my empirical means of evaluating the quality of a content farm video based on hard science, facts, and data. It is always perfectly accurate and has never been wrong. And as you can see, it is also very beautiful. Let us begin. Did the Rubber remove female characters from this story? No! Not a whole lot of dialogue or people with names in this one. Did the Rubber remove queer people from the story? No. There were no queer people in this story. The Added Violence Index. The Added Violence Index measures if the content farm added violence that wasn't originally there and didn't need to be there, as a clickbait tactic. Did the Rubber add violence? Yes. It's already a fairly violent article, but the Rubber added that beginning and end scene that really added nothing to the story, except maybe a few minutes of runtime. The Plot Deviation Index measures how far the content farm strayed from the original plot of the story. So how did the Rubber fare? Not well, because they left out the central joke of the entire article, the fact that the boat is a folkloric vampire, in favor of some dumb ending credits scene to try and make it scarier or whatever. 3. Tone Non-Adherence Index. How well did the Rubber preserve the tone of the article? Extremely poorly. They removed all the jokes from the comedy to try and make it scarier, but they also, you know, didn't make it scary. So the tone was basically just this. Did you hear that? That was perfectly timed. I hope that was audible on my microphone. So the tone was basically just this. 4. Bonus round. Did they use egregious clickbait in the thumbnail? No. That's pretty much what the thing looks like. Is the whole video all dudes? No. There's a mother? But to be fair, all the speaking and named roles in the original are dudes also, so no. Was everybody white? No. It looks like Williamson is Asian, I think. And when they're referencing other researchers on the project, there is a black person depicted. I know that that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel, but I do think that there is an important difference between some characters look not entirely white and Literally every single figure in the entire video is a white person. Now, it's important to also point out that Williamson's first name is Sahad, which is an Arabic name. And even though they made him Asian, I will begrudgingly give them a pass because they didn't make him blonde. I think we all would have preferred if he had actually been Middle Eastern looking, but at the same time, I don't really expect the rubber to pay that much attention. So we'll take what we can get. Let's take a look at our final score. 50%, putting this video in the C tier. Here is how the rubber's version of 6426 stacks up against our other videos. Congratulations to the rubber for your highest score yet. You didn't fuck it as bad as you usually do, but you could still try a little harder. Thank you for watching my YouTube video. I'm Radiger, SCP author who has definitely published something in the last year. Trust me, I have. I am not retired. If you are an SCP author and feel that a content farm channel has misrepresented your work, leave it in the comments and I swear to God I will try and find the list I made. I swear I made one. It's on my computer somewhere. Please don't hang me upside down. Thanks again to my marvelous patrons. If you want to see more cool non-content farm channels on YouTube, check out my friends. And if you want to see more of my work, I make fiction podcasts. One of them just finished. Go to hodgepodgeaudio.com for more on that. Also read SCP-8320, okay, bye.